22 missed calls. That's what lit up my phone the morning my parents were supposed to leave for their anniversary cruise out of Wilmington, the one I paid $11,800 for. The night before, my dad had texted, "We just think it might be better without you." I didn't argue. I didn't plead. I just typed back, "Sure thing." They took it as surrender, but when the port staff refused to let them board without the cardholder present, they finally learned what silence can cost. Because this wasn't a story about money, it was about what happens when the family problem stops paying to belong. My name's Emily Carter. For most of my life, family peace was something I had to buy. Flights, hotels, birthday dinners, replacement appliances, emergency repairs. If I paid for it, we could all pretend things were normal. So when my parents' 40th anniversary came around, I did what I always did. I handled everything. 2 upgraded cabins, shore excursions, spa add-ons, even a night in a waterfront hotel so my mom wouldn't complain about early check-ins. Nearly $12,000 gone in one click. It wasn't about the money. I told myself it was a gift, a chance to make us feel like a family again. Mom, Linda, loved perfection. She wanted staged photos and the illusion of closeness so she could post captions about blessings and gratitude. Dad, Mark, played the patient one. His version of peace was endurance, as long as no one caused waves. My older sister, Hannah, always got the fragile favorite treatment. Unpredictable and dramatic, the one we all had to tiptoe around. And then there was Chloe, the youngest, 16, sweet. Still believing that family meant safety. I used to believe that too. The week before the cruise, our group chat went unusually quiet. No packing updates, no questions about check-in times. When I texted Mom, she sent back a single heart emoji and "can't mate." Hannah didn't reply at all. Chloe, who normally spammed me with memes and outfit photos, said nothing. That silence had a sound. It hummed like the moment before a power outage. I told myself they were just busy, but deep down I knew that quiet was a warning. 2 nights before departure, I called Dad, running through travel times the way I always did. He sounded cheerful, almost rehearsed. "Oh, we arranged our own shuttle," he said. Something cold twisted in my stomach. What shuttle? There was a pause, long enough for dread to crawl into place. Then he said it. "We just think it might be better without you." I stared at the wall, letting the words settle. Better without me. After everything. The phone slipped from my hand. My boyfriend, Jason, looked up from the couch, reading my expression before I said a word. I didn't scream or cry. I just picked up my phone again, opened their message thread, and typed 2 words. Sure thing. I didn't sleep that night. The message burned on my screen even after the display went dark. I had paid for the entire cruise, but somehow I was still the outsider, the extra piece that ruined their perfect picture. Every few minutes, my phone lit up with old texts from Mom. "Remember sunscreen, you're the best, honey." Each one felt like a lie written to stall the truth. At 6:11 the next morning, I made coffee. The house was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the faint tick of the wall clock. Jason leaned against the counter, watching me. "Did they say why?" I shook my head. "Just that it would be better without me." He let out a slow breath. "That's not better. That's cowardice." I didn't answer. I just stared out the window, watching sunlight crawl across the street. I'd spent years fixing their messes. Maybe this time I'd let them sit in one. By 7 a.m., my phone started buzzing again, but not with apologies. Mom's voice filled the first voicemail, clipped and furious. "Emily, this is ridiculous. They won't let us board without the cardholder present. You need to call them right now." I took a sip of coffee. "No, I don't," I whispered. 22 missed calls later, I finally picked up. "Emily," she snapped, voice sharp. "We're standing here with our bags like criminals." I put her on speaker. Jason watched from the doorway, arms crossed. "You should have thought about that before deciding I wasn't worth having around," I said evenly. "You're humiliating us," she yelled. "No," I replied. "You did that yourselves." Then I hung up. 3 hours later, the pounding started. Sharp, impatient knocks rattled my front door. I stood at the top of the stairs, watching their blurred silhouettes through the frosted glass. Jason came beside me. "Want me to handle it?" I shook my head. "No, I want to see their faces." Mom barged in first, all perfume and fury. Dad followed quietly, pretending to be the peacemaker. This is childish, Emily. Do you know how much you embarrassed us? I think I have an idea. Dad lifted his hands. Let's not yell. We just need to talk this out. That phrase, talk this out, was their code for you'll take the blame. When Jason stepped forward, calm and barefoot, Mom redirected her anger to him. Ever since you started dating him, you've changed. You've become cold, distant, calculating. Jason didn't even blink. Leave, he said. His voice was quiet, but immovable. You don't get to insult her in her own home and still expect her to fix your mess. For a moment, even Mom fell silent. Then she turned and muttered something about ungrateful children as she slammed the door behind her. The quiet that followed was heavier than any shout. It was the sound of something breaking and staying broken. For 3 days, the house stayed still. No calls, no messages, nothing but silence, the thick, waiting kind, like air before a storm. I tried to work, but every sound, the ping of an email, the creak of floorboards, felt like a memory knocking. Jason didn't push. He just kept making 2 cups of coffee each morning. That was his way of saying I wasn't alone. On the 4th morning, my phone buzzed again. 22 missed calls stacked in a column. Same number, same desperation. I didn't answer. Not until the 23rd ring. Emily? Mom's voice burst through the speaker, frantic. They won't let us board. They said the card holder has to be here in person. I set my mug down slowly. That's strange, because you told me it would be better without me. This isn't funny, she snapped. You're making us look ridiculous. No, Mom, you did that yourselves. Then I hung up. Jason leaned against the counter, the hint of a knowing smile on his lips. Consequences, he said. I nodded. Finally, by noon, the doorbell rang again. Heavy knocks. I didn't move. I watched from the top of the stairs as their shadows reappeared behind the glass. Mom's posture stiff, Dad already defeated. You sure you want to open it? Jason asked. Yes. I want to see how they spin it this time. Mom burst in without waiting for permission, her hair frizzed from humidity, lipstick uneven. Emily, do you understand what you've done? They treated us like scammers. Everyone at the port saw. I crossed my arms. Well, maybe next time don't commit credit card fraud. Her eyes widened. Excuse me? You used my card for a trip you uninvited me from. That's theft, Mom. Dad stepped forward. Sweetheart, we just need to talk this out. There it is again. I cut in. That phrase you use when you weren't me to take the blame. Mom's voice cracked. You embarrassed us. We are your parents. I'm aware, I said quietly, and you made sure everyone else is too. Jason came down the stairs, hands in his pockets, barefoot. His calmness irritated her even more. Ever since you met him, you've changed, she repeated. He smiled faintly. She learned how to stop paying for her own humiliation. For a second, no one spoke. Then Mom turned and stormed out again. The door slammed. This time, I didn't flinch. I let silence settle, thick and peaceful. It didn't feel like loss anymore. It felt like something I should have done years ago. I didn't hear from them for 3 days. Then on the 4th night, Dad texted one line. Dinner. Just you. We need to talk. No apology, no explanation. Just a summons dressed as an invitation. I told Jason I'd go, but asked him to wait across the street. He nodded. That was the thing about him. He knew the difference between rescuing and witnessing. Their porch light was already on when I pulled up, bright and artificial, like a stage. Inside, the good dishes were set out, napkins folded, silverware polished. The bottle of wine I'd gifted them last Christmas uncorked, as if generosity could be reused. Hannah greeted me with a brittle smile. Chloe didn't look up. Mom floated in like this was a holiday special. Dad took a seat at the head of the table, hands folded, rehearsed and performative. We tried small talk. It fell flat. After a few bites of roast chicken, Dad leaned back, the signal we'd reached the real script. It's a shame the cruise didn't work out, he said lightly, as if weather had canceled it, but the family still needs a break. We found a great deal at a resort in Arizona, 5 nights, spa, infinity pool. Mom slid a glossy pamphlet across the table. If we all split it, it'll be easier for you. Easier for me. Always me. I kept my face still. Who's paying? Dad chuckled. You handle logistics so well, Hannah added. You always do. The room tilted. I looked at Chloe, whose lips pressed into a thin, brave line. She whispered, barely audible, "They won't stop." Mom's head snapped toward her. "Enough." I pushed back my chair. "I'll think about it." Outside, the air felt cleaner. Jason watched from the car. I said nothing as I got in. He didn't ask. We drove home in silence, the kind that healed instead of punished. The next day, a gift bag appeared at my door. Gold foil, too tight white bow. Inside, an envelope, a folded brochure, a thick printout. When I saw my name at the top of the reservation confirmation, my stomach dropped. When I flipped the paper over, the payment line sharpened my vision. Card ending in 1174. My card. They'd used the stored information from the cruise. Again. The air left my lungs not from the amount. I could cover it, but from the message. You don't get to choose. We do. Jason came in from the kitchen when he saw my face. "What happened?" he asked. I told him. "They used my card. It's non-refundable." He watched me a long second, then asked very softly, "So what do you want to do?" I turned the pages over like they might change. The dates were this weekend. Check in under my name. My responsibility if I wanted it. Their expectation was obvious. I'd fix what they'd broken, absorb the cost, eat the humiliation. "Then don't," Jason said. That landed in me like a key clicking open. We packed light. Sunscreen, 2 paperbacks, 2 pairs of sunglasses, and I forwarded the booking to my email again. My name, my address, my confirmations. Receipts sat in a neat folder on my phone. Quiet soldiers lined up in a row. The flight was short. North Carolina air gave way to desert light, Arizona heat greeting us like the hand of someone who doesn't know you owe them nothing. The resort lobby was glass and sandstone, soft music, cooler air descending like a blessing. A woman at the desk looked up and smiled. "Welcome, Miss Carter." The sound of my name in that tone, welcoming, not demanding, loosened something at the base of my neck. She handed over the key cards. 10 minutes to check in. 10 minutes to feel like I had stepped back into my own life. The suite was bigger than the photos. A private terrace open to rust-red rock, a plunge pool the size of a generous bathtub, a bowl of oranges, liner curtains that moved like someone breathing. Jason set our bags down and whistled. "This is nicer than I pictured." I said, "It should be. I paid for it twice." We did nothing for 2 days. Hiked a short trail that smelled like sun-warmed sage. Ate breakfast on the terrace while a lizard watched us like a bored concierge. Napped with the curtains open. No calls, no texts. I put my phone on airplane mode and felt my body remember what quiet could be. On the 3rd morning, I turned it back on. Notifications poured in like water through a broken pipe. Missed calls, messages, voicemails. The first one that loaded made me laugh, not because it was funny, but because it was so exactly predictable. "Did you seriously take the trip, Mom?" Mom's text read. "The resort says the room is occupied. You need to fix this. You humiliated us again." There are messages from Hannah laced with words like selfish and dramatic. A soft, tentative text from Dad tried the old landing maneuver. "Your mother is upset. We didn't think it would go this far." It had gone precisely as far as their choices had taken it. A voicemail from Hannah played next, breathless and incredulous. "They won't let us in. The reservation is under your name only. Low. Emily." I took a slow breath and pressed record on a new voicemail to Mom. My voice came out steady and adult, in a way it rarely did with her. "You stole from me," I said. "This is what happens when you steal." I hung up and set the phone down, like it was finally a device again, not a courtroom. By afternoon, the narrative had spilled online. My cousin Claire posted a photo from a backyard barbecue with the caption, "Family first, no drama," under which someone asked, "Where's Emily?" My mother replied, almost instantly, "She chose not to come. We don't know why. She's been acting strange." My chest tightened, not from surprise. This was her specialty, the public rewrite. The next message was from Chloe. "They're lying," it read. "I'm so sorry." She attached a photo of the old cruise itinerary I'd made, my name at the top as the payer, the line items laid bare like bones. "Then I'm going to tell the truth," she wrote. "You don't owe me that," I typed back. "Take care of yourself." But the family wheels had already begun to whir. Aunt Karen messaged, "Can you share the invoice?" 2 cousins asked within the hour if it was true they'd used my card again. I didn't rant. I didn't explain. I sent screenshots, payments, statements. Every time I pressed send, The anger in my ribs loosened another notch. Facts are calmer than apologies. Facts don't shake. By evening, the group chat I'd muted weeks before lit up with 36 new messages. Confusion, defensiveness, thinly veiled scolding. I didn't join. I poured sparkling water into a glass, walked out to the terrace, and watched the rock faces go gold. Jason came out and stood shoulder to shoulder with me. "You know what this feels like?" he asked. "Like the moment a bully realizes the teacher's been standing in the doorway the whole time." I smiled. "The teacher is the terms and conditions," I said. "Exactly." The next morning, a blocked number called twice. On the third try, curiosity won. Dad's voice arrived careful, each word placed like a chess piece. "We didn't think it would go this far," he said. "Your mother is upset." "You used my money," I said twice. "That was a misunderstanding," he replied. "You thought my silence was permission," I said. A pause. "We're sorry if things were misinterpreted." There it was, the apology for my reaction, not their action. I didn't give it oxygen. I ended the call. By noon, a heavy envelope slid under my door at the resort. Thick cards, stock paper, gold leaf, Mom's looping handwriting, a little more jagged than usual. "We didn't mean for it to go this far. We just wanted to feel appreciated. Sorry if we crossed a line." There was no check, no offer to reverse the charges, only a plea to restore the hierarchy where I paid and they forgave. I set the card on the table and went swimming. When we flew home 2 days later, the air in our house felt like it belonged to us. No leftover shouting lingered in the corners. No old guilt shoved into drawers. I made coffee, Jason fed the plants and put on an old record that sounded like summer. By evening, the family narrative began to buckle. Claire posted a vague quote about people who smile at you while rewriting you behind your back. Mom's best friend stopped liking her pictures. Aunt Karen sent one final text. "You deserve better. I told them so." Dad went quiet. He always did when flames licked the truth. Then Chloe called. She didn't say hello. She breathed, then whispered, "They told me to block you." "I won't," she said. "Are you sure?" "Yes," she answered, steadier than I expected. "I'm spending Christmas with you and Jason." "More than okay," I said. "It's home." After we hung up, I opened the folder on my phone once more. Payments, receipts, statements, small rectangles of proof that I'd spent years buying a version of love that never existed. The resort photos set above them, orange lights and wide sky, and my feet at the edge of the plunge pool. I saved those too, not as proof for anyone, but as proof to myself. That night, lying in bed with the window cracked to let the cool in, I realized the confrontation had ended not with a slammed door or a heroic speech, but with a boundary that held, stolen money rerouted into my own peace, silence that finally belonged to me. Months passed after that last exchange. No calls, no sudden family emergencies, no new manipulative dramas. Just quiet, the kind that doesn't ache anymore. Life found a rhythm I hadn't allowed myself to feel before. I woke without the familiar dread in my chest. I cooked breakfast without rehearsing imagined disputes. Every time I checked my bank app, I smiled, not at the numbers, but at the calm behind them. The transactions now were mine. Chloe came to stay for 2 weeks in February, bringing a nervous laugh and an armful of oversized hoodies. We painted the living room while Jason spun old records in the background. We didn't speak much about our parents. Some wounds don't require words. They need distance. One night she asked quietly, "Do you think Mom honestly thought what she did was okay?" I thought for a long time before answering. "I think she believed whatever made her comfortable," I said. "Some people mistake comfort for love." Chloe nodded slowly. "I used to believe family meant forgiving anything. Now I think it means not letting it happen again." That's when I realized she'd crossed the same bridge I had, only younger and braver. When she left for college, she hugged me tight. "Thank you," she whispered, "for showing me what peace looks like." After her flight, I sat in the car and let myself cry happy tears for the first time in years. By spring, the whispers had stopped. My parents' social feeds went quiet. No family photos, no glossy quotes about forgiveness. The facade had cracked, and they were too busy holding it together to post. Peace isn't quiet because there's nothing left to say. It's quiet because you finally stopped explaining yourself to people who never listened. Now when people ask me if I miss my parents, I tell the truth. I miss the idea of them, the version I've kept paying for, not the reality that kept taking. The real loss wasn't the cruise or the money. It was the years I spent believing love had to be earned through suffering. These days, Jason and I host a small workshop at the local library called Boundaries and Balance. It began as a joke and somehow turned into a circle of people learning the same thing I did. Peace isn't selfish. It's survival. Sometimes after the sessions end, I sit by the window and think about that Arizona sky, wide and gold. That's what freedom looks like. Ordinary, steady, and earned. If you've ever been the one holding a family together until it broke, tell me in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this with friends, comment your perspectives or the key lessons you learned.